I find it very interesting that Jews are now conflated with white people. Jews historically have not been white.
But it's your lack of an understanding of the Jewish experience and how anti-Semitic tropes have historically worked that makes you think it's okay to use language that generalizes all Jews. If Jews ran the media, why would the media always be so overtly biased against Israel?
Those are alarming disproportions of the population size they are versus how much they're victims of.
Ruslan.
There's been a lot made of Kanye West, Ye, and his rather unsettling claims about Jewish people. But recently, a Jew from Brooklyn has confirmed that Kanye West, who said he was Jew, is actually Jew.
Recently, Kanye West said he can't be an anti-Semite since he is Jewish himself.
I am Jew also. Do your research on it.
I wanted to learn more about his Jewish heritage.
So I went to his childhood friends to find out more.
That's where he lived. That was his childhood home, right up there.
It turns out Kanye is indeed
Oh man, this is a TikTok channel called Samim Brawaski. It's called The Truth About Kanye's Jewish Roots.
indeed from a family of Orthodox Jews right here in Brooklyn, New York.
I mean, some people called him the perfect Jew.
I bar mitzvahed Kanye.
Really?
His bar mitzvah was in the synagogue down the block.
By lighting the menorah, I used to skip the candles by accident, and I always just say, Kanye, all the lights!
So that's actually from you?
Yeah, all the lights. That's for me.
His ad-libs are Jewish kvetches.
So this is where Kanye was chanting every day for years.
He would sit right here.
Why do you think he says all these negative things about Jews?
He's just a self-hating Jew like me, like you.
So Kanye wasn't lying. He really is one of the most Jewish people ever.
No matter where you may roam, you can always come back home.
No matter where you may roam, you can always come back home.
Oh, yeah, he'll come back. They always come back.
Yo, what a W take. I think he did a couple of these. I gotta find him. This dude is really funny, man. In all seriousness, if you guys want to see a great breakdown of this video, there is a channel called Rudy Israel. Okay, Rudy Israel. And he does a killer job breaking down all of the Kanye stuff. And this is, I believe, a Moroccan Jew. And I'm working on having Rudy on the channel. I connected with him through Kosher Deals.
So listen up. This is our answer. Yea, after witnessing your recent interview videos, tweets, and the world's response to your messaging, it is evident that you're trying to create a conversation around several topics that are weighing heavy on your conscience. While attempting to empower the Black community, revealing the truth that many Black people are descendants of the tribes of Israel who were in Africa and later taken as slaves to the Americas, and seeking to call out individual Jews for bad practices, you fell DEFCON 3 to the world's ears when going on attack mode.
I've shared Rudy's stuff. I think he does a great job. He has a documentary coming out called Never Lost about actual Black Jews from the tribe of Gad in Nigeria. It looks incredible. They've been doing screenings of it, so I'm working on getting him on the channel pretty soon. He does all kinds of YouTube stuff. His channel is Rudy Rockman, or if you just search Rudy Israel, it'll come up right away.
Don't heal darkness with more darkness. If you use your voice, especially aimed at Jews who you call your own people, you must come from a place of light. Your fire is a superpower. It gives you the ability to create and rise above others, but if you let that fire control you, you end up burning those around you. Your words impact the minds of millions, and you seriously tripped up when you started regurgitating Jewish conspiracy theories, sprinkling blatant historic anti-Semitic tropes, which have been used to push waves of terror and persecution against the Jewish people for generations, and blaming Jews for all of your problems or traumas experienced, which always leads to physical harm against Jews at the very least. The source of your problem begins with you coming from a place of jealousy.
I'm jealous of the fact of how they don't abort their babies. I'm jealous of the fact of how they stay with their wives. I'm jealous of the fact of how they do business together. I'm jealous of the fact of how they read their contracts and understand their contracts. I'm jealous of the way Jewish people do business.
I'm envious that they turn their phones off on Friday night and the family comes together.
I want my people to rise up like the Jewish people. I'm a competitor.
Most people in positions of power are not Jewish, but given the current recognized Jewish community amounts to 15 million worldwide, which is only 0.2% of the world's population, you are right that Jewish representation in positions of power is extremely high. Jews also excel in spaces outside of finance. Many top doctors, scientists, researchers, artists, engineers, and founders of charitable movements are Jewish.
Wouldn't we want to figure out why Jewish people, small population, I think he said 0.2%, high concentration of people in successful positions? Wouldn't we want to figure that out? instead of saying, well, they run Hollywood and they're secretly the lizard people. I would think you'd be like, yo, what is it about? What are they doing that allows them to be to rise to the top in a lot of these things? I know the answer to that, but I would think that would be the question, right? And I think Rudy
This
gets
phenomenon
into it.
has nothing to do with Jews being born Jewish or into success. Quite the contrary. Jews throughout history have constantly been hated, persecuted, exiled, converted by force, burned, crucified, exterminated, and suffered more for thousands of years than any of us can imagine. Even today, Jews make up 13% of New York City's population, yet over 56% of the total hate crimes committed in NYC are specifically against Jews.
There's an alarming disproportions of the population size they are versus how much they're victims of anti-Semitic hate crimes, which is why this stuff is important. This stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum.
I remember Ben Horowitz called me after 444 and said, I don't know about Jay giving up Jewish business secrets. And these secrets...
We talk about building up the properties and stuff like that.
Yeah, these secrets they're not finna be a secret no more. Like if somebody tells me something, it's like, yo, I want to tell you this, but it's a secret. I'm like, I'm not your personal hard drive. Like if you want to be a secret, don't tell me. I'm not here to keep nobody's secrets because it's only the truth that's going to set us free.
Yay, I'm going to let you in on a secret and feel free not to keep it. The formula for Jewish success comes from our ancient culture and traditions. Let me give you an example. Just a few hundred years ago, most humans on earth were illiterate and did not know how to read or write. But throughout history, most Jews knew how to read and write due to their bar and bat mitzvahs, a passage to adulthood test where an entire portion of the Torah is recited in Hebrew, all while memorizing the pronunciation of each word without vowels. Not to mention the fact that Jews also learned Gemara and Talmud, which are texts with deep disagreements from varying perspectives, which develop critical thinking skills for any human learning it. Most Jews also have...
So he said literate, memorization, and critical thinking skills. Those are the things that require someone to be successful in anything.
Parents who push their children to be the best versions of themselves that they can be, and have passed down traditions like giving at least 10% of our yearly income to charity, taking care of our own community, helping others in need outside of our community, and having deep love for our heritage and collective purpose. That being said, there are also many Jews who are not...
I think Christians can glean from this, guys. I hate to break it to you. We're trying to get our son to understand and memorize scripture. We're trying to get him he's a great reader already, but we're trying to get him to think more critically, to use reason and logic. I think there's so much we can glean from this as a people, man.
Financially successful.
Instead of envying them, instead of hating them, instead of talking ill of them.
That being said, there are also many Jews who are not financially successful and live below the poverty line. Your generalization stemming from your individual reality in this video game of life does not define the experience of an entire collective. Your jealousy comes from looking at our results. But if you want to understand the why, you should look at the millions of Jews who've suffered, bled, and died to make sure we are still here, and the efforts that our ancestors have invested to make sure we live on and push forward. Any people's past must never turn them into victims or poison their hearts at the sight of positivity outside of their own context.
And the Jewish people, after the Holocaust, they said it's never again, and they went and they got their respect. And I respect Jewish people for that, right? But we in the championships of life, right? And I'm telling the Jewish people like this, I need my ring too.
Unlike basketball or football, it doesn't have to be only one people who wins.
Life is not a zero-sum game, guys. Everybody can win. Christians can win. Black people can win. Jewish people can win. Everybody can win. Life's not a zero-sum game.
After the Holocaust were able to rise together and revive their ancient civilization. And although you see that, there's plenty the Jews still have to overcome. We are all expressions of one. And although the oneness can infinitely break down and expand, the world must find the perfect balance between our individuality and the greater collective we belong to.
When I was in Israel, you want to know something crazy? Most Jews that I came across looked more like him. If you go to Israel, matter of fact, if you go outside of New York, most Jews don't look like me. They don't have pale skin. They're actually darker skin, Arab, Moroccan looking, Middle Eastern looking. Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jew. I find it very interesting that Jews are now conflated with white people. Jews historically have not been white. They've never been white adjacent. White supremacists and the KKK don't like Jewish people. But now all of a sudden, because they're successful in a fragment of them in New York are lighter skinned, that all of a sudden, right? Like
oneness can infinitely break down and expand. The world must find the perfect balance between our individuality and the greater collective we belong to.
And my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
To Jews, this sounds crazy because Hanukkah has nothing to do with financial engineering at all. It's about a movement of warriors who stood up to Western imperialism and liberated their people. But of course, if you only surround yourself by mostly very...
And by the way, we do know that Israel was colonized by Rome, right? We do know that.
And never learned the story of the Maccabees, but instead were only exposed to Jewish chocolate gelt, I can see how you came to the wrong and shallow conclusion of Hanukkah being about financial engineering. By the way, the reason we spin dreidels and have gelt is to remember that under the Hellenistic Greeks, practicing our culture was forbidden, and when Greek soldiers would come to Jewish homes, Jews would quickly hide their books and pull out their dreidels and coins to pretend they were playing games rather than studying Torah. Gelt represents the distraction tactics we use to keep our culture alive, not ancient tax strategies or biblical crypto secrets.
Ancient tax strategies or biblical crypto secrets. That's a W.
Look, I must admit that it's clear to me that your comments are also coming from a place of deep respect you have for the Jewish people. You are outright saying that you want your kids to celebrate Hanukkah. What anti-Semite wants their kids to celebrate Hanukkah? You also clearly value financial engineering, and since many Jews have found innovative ways of being financially successful, you want to emulate that. But the way it came off just ain't it.
It is very important to have the black vote be in groupthink and to not separate from the thought and be completely in line with the agenda of the left, the Jewish media, and the Chinese.
Chinese got something to do with it?
I'm me too.
Yo! No, he's like, Chinese got to do. What? What are we talking about? Come on, fam.
The Jewish culture right now and saying, y'all got to come out and say what y'all
Chinese people
done
got
between
something to do with it?
the mob action, what they'll do for groupthink. Like if you go against them, I put the White Lives Matter t-shirt and they cancel my shows. And I came back and I was like, no, f the Jewish media. And everybody's like, what? Wait, what?
Jews are one people. But there is no higher Jewish office or elite secret body that decides to push negative agendas onto the world on behalf of the Jewish people.
This is the origin of every conspiracy theory. If you go down most of these conspiracy theories, whether it's 9/11, whether it's the lizard people, right, like most of these things, if you go up, cultural Marxism, quote unquote, you go up these things and usually at the end of it, you'll arrive at Jews are bad, Jews did it. Again, this stuff is not without consequence. And this is across conservative, liberal. That's crazy, isn't it?
You have every right to be against individuals which happen to be Jewish, but it's your lack of an understanding of the Jewish experience and how anti-Semitic tropes have historically worked that makes you think it's okay to use language that generalizes all Jews. In practice, this results in
broad generalizations are the epitome of ignorance. When you over and consistently generalize these things, that is when you completely play yourself.
I don't care about your fake Holocaust.
Jews run child rape rings. That's why Donald Trump is.
Didn't I tell you guys it was the origin of every fallacy? I mean, didn't I tell you it was the origin of every conspiracy theory?
Haters.
Every Jew should get on their knees and beg for forgiveness for the theft of Palestine.
To every type of anti-Semite you can imagine.
Alors tous les Israéliens sont mauvais?
Ben ouais.
Tous. Il n'y en a pas un qui est vrai.
Sans exception.
Et moi je suis israélien.
It has become
I'm Israeli, huh?
clear that many of these individuals conclude that their source of suffering stems simply from Jewish existence. Just like you, they see people in positions of power that may be Jewish like Mark Zuckerberg or Mark Cuban and assume that they view themselves as Jews first when conducting their lives or businesses. The reality is that Jews like Zuck and Cuban are very disconnected from their ancient civilization's identity. Although they're
And in Israel, you have secular Jews, right? You have like modern Orthodox and you have ultra Orthodox, you have fractions within that. Then you have secular Jews that are just like, we don't do kosher, we don't do Sabbath, we don't do none of it, right? And there's a spectrum within those folks.
the chance they may slightly care about the collective they are part of deep down. In practice, they have non-Jewish children, and why the levels of anti-Semitism are rampant and exponentially growing each year, the power they wield is not used to benefit the collective of the Jewish people, even in our defense while under attack. If Jews ran the media, why would the media always be so overtly biased against Israel?
I'll wait for an answer.
The majority of the response videos made by non-Jews criticizing you completely omitted anything you said about the Jewish people and only focused on your WLM shirt or your comments on George Floyd. Speaking of gaslighting,
if you are an honest person, you did not think this tweet was anti-Semitic. If you're an
I can't with her, man. I know a lot of you guys are big fans. I can't with Candace. I can't with Candace Owens.
honest person, when you read this tweet, you had no idea what the hell he was talking about. Did he mean DEFCON 3? Which would be a military defense position?
It's hilarious. If she extended a shred of the good faith and charity to George Floyd, to black people who have been mistreated by police that she does to Kanye, the world, politics, all these things would be so much better. Just extend just a tad bit of charity and good faith.
An offense for those of you that are offended. If you're a liar, you'll say, I was scared, Candace. I actually thought that Kanye West was going to launch a military strike in Israel. We need to stop this.
I don't think anyone literally thought Kanye was going to launch a military strike in Israel, you goober. I think he was clearly out of his mind, and it was awful what he said.
Nonsense. Stop calling people names. It's a toddler game. Everybody's in preschool. You're too many.
Candace Owens, who do you think you are to tell Jews what is or isn't offensive? You have every right to defend Ye and to clarify what you think he said, but you don't get to...
By the way, one of the funniest things is that Kanye wasn't allowed to go on Daily Wire because Candace Owens works for Daily Wire, which is owned, ironically enough, by Ben Shapiro, who's a Jew. Ben Shapiro's still caking off all the nonsense she's spouting.
Jews seem crazy when they recognize the tropes that have historically been used to exterminate us. Don't you dare ever tell us what we have a right to feel hurt by ever again.
We made the White Lives Matter tees, and then when I put up the tweet, the DEF CON tweet, now he ain't releasing the tee because he's Jewish. And I'm like, see, this is my exact point that I'm making. Like, Jewish people have owned the black voice, whether it's through us wearing a Ralph Lauren shirt, or it's all of us being signed to a record label, or having a
record labels are multinational conglomerates that are publicly traded companies, Kanye. They're not owned by Jewish people.
Jewish manager, or being signed to a Jewish basketball team, or doing a movie on a Jewish platform like Disney.
Yay, you're smart enough to understand why a Jew who owns a clothing company might not want to work with you after negatively generalizing the Jewish people. It's not a conspiracy or a plot against you. Hundreds of thousands of unborn babies getting aborted is a valid dialogue for you to bring up. That may take many deeper conversations from varying perspectives to find holistic solutions. But you cannot compare the deliberate attempt to exterminate every single Jew on this planet and the action of murdering 6 million Jews in the most brutal and horrific ways possible. It's not by minimizing our trauma that people will hear yours out.
I can't anymore with I like Rudy. I can't anymore with Kanye. Gosh, man, I love Kanye, man, but just not right now. I mean, I love Kanye. I'm praying he gets better, but it's hard to watch.
Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. Now, if you're like, meh, I don't want to sign up for $5 a month, I don't need another recurring subscription. Listen, I get it. You could also make a donation using PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, but we really want to get you on Patreon. I promise you, the perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.
And it said that Simeon blessed God.